So I recently got another 3D printer, which means I've now got two 3D printers. And a few people said, so what do you even use your 3D printer for? Surely it's just for junk. And maybe it is just for junk. But I thought I would kind of show you a couple of things that I've been printing recently for some projects. And I'm actually going to try and kind of sand and spray something that I've been printing for the last 3 days. And I thought I'd kind of document that and see how it comes out. So I've had 3D printers now for about 3 years, and definitely when you first get it you do print a lot of junk, but there's a few things I've been printing recently for some upcoming projects. A couple of them in the workshop, so when we go down there in a moment I'll show them to you. I'm working on an all-sky camera using, I can't find it actually right now, but it's using a camera that I've got for the telescope. So the whole idea is I can do kind of some all-sky time lapses. Also been working on some little Raspberry Pi screen enclosures. So this is an enclosure for something I'm going to show in the future if I get around to finishing it. These are actually some of the bits. These prints didn't come out that well, but this is part of this is going to kind of mount a Raspberry Pi. It's going to go in that all-sky camera. There'll be a video on that. There's another project I've been working on for a while and not really made much progress for the last couple of years. Is I want to do a weather balloon. So this is a nozzle that I recently printed that will enable me to kind of connect to my balloon and a helium tank, so I can safely kind of put the helium into the balloon. So there are just a couple of things that I've done recently. Also print some little things for my kids every now and then. So printed a skipping rope quite recently. I did a video but not sure if it will come out yet, on something called an Astrobox, which is how you can network your 3D printer. So I printed some kind of Raspberry Pi enclosures for that. So again, these aren't things I guess that you need, but I have the ability to print them, and it means that I don't have to buy them and just wait for them to come in at some point. And then this is the newer printer. So there's a video on this. It's the Onho Duplicator 9 Mark II, and this is what I've been printing. So it's going to be a headphone stand. So one of the things that has annoyed me a little bit is in that big rack of all the things here in the cave, I've got some headphones that just kind of sit on the side and kind of get in the way a little bit. So I wanted to be able to raise them. This is not a design that I made. This is something I found on a website called Pinshare, and it's basically people sell designs or have them for free. This is a free design. So it's taken about 3 days to print all of these. This one hasn't come out quite as nice as I'd like, but I'm going to use a filler to kind of fill a primer and then gloss it. As you can see, it's empty in the middle, so they had a full support in there, and then we'll be able to print that. And then these two arms will kind of sit just in there, over the back there, and then this little bit will sit at the top. So at the end, hopefully, I'm going to spray both of these in primer and then gloss back, so hopefully they look nice and shiny. And then these, I think they look pretty good in white, but if you look closely you can see I see some of the print lines. So I'm thinking I've got some red paint, so I might do a red-black kind of combo and see how that comes out. So we're going to take this down to the workshop and put it in my little cardboard spray booth and see how things come out. If you're new to 3D printing, you may not know kind of how kind of things work. Basically, this kind of stuff is the plastic, and I've got quite a lot of it around here because I'm printing a few things for different people. Some of you subscribers as well. So Darren in the Discord channel, I recently printed him a Type 2 charger holder for his Zappi. This is what the plastic looks like. Comes in all different kinds of colours. I've got some more over here for some other stuff that I'm working on. But yeah, basically these are 1.75mm 1 kilogram spools, and they vary in price from somewhere between £10 to £20 for a kilogram. So obviously, depending on how complicated the prints are, you can get quite a lot out of one of those spools. So I think that Type 2 holder that I printed, obviously electricity aside, that doesn't really matter because I'm printing it whilst the solar is powering things, probably cost about £1 or something to make. So I'm not quite sure how much this would have cost in plastic. It took me quite a few goes actually to get this to work properly, but that's more about kind of getting used to this printer. But when it's finished, I'll make sure I kind of calculate what the cost will, just give an idea of how much it would have cost to print this stand. So I'm going to take this down to workshop again, like I mentioned, and start to primer stuff. Okay, so down in the workshop now, there's a couple of other things that I've been printing recently. So I've got quite a lot of Ryobi gear that I'm going to be doing some videos on, but I wanted a way to be able to mount them to the wall. So these are different kind of grades of Ryobi mounts that I can then affix to the wall and then be able to hang some of the tools on, and then something for the Ryobi batteries as well. So stuff just like this. So again, they can fix to the wall and the battery will just kind of fit in there. And then some more basic stuff, which is this Allsky camera that I told you about. So this is where I've got this 4-inch pipe, but I couldn't find any caps for it. So then I just end up making my own caps. And then basically they just slot on there, and then I can kind of drill and fit this cover on as well. So these are some of the projects I'm working on. This is why I like having a 3D printer, because you can kind of just take care of some of these things yourself. So we'll have a go at printing some of this stuff. Not printing, spraying it, see how it comes out. I've never sprayed plastic stuff like this before, so it's going to be a kind of learning job for me. And here's my very expensive spray booth. You know it's a spray booth because I think I've written spray booth on it somewhere. But yeah, so we'll see how things come out. So I'll just drill some holes in this block of wood, put some sticks on there, and then I need to work out how I can fit these different things into here. So let's see how we get on. It's going to take a few days probably to do it, because this is the primer that I'm using. So it should cover and fill in a few things, and then I've got just these plastic coat super gloss stuff. So I've got red, black, and then there is a white one down here. So just going to give these items a little bit of a sand, and then give them a spray. Okay, so I'm going to leave that dry for a little bit. Probably tell I haven't got a clue what I'm doing, and I don't think this is going to work, because that primer isn't filling anything in. It now is more blatantly obvious where the gaps are. So I'll leave that to dry for 10 minutes before doing another coat. But yeah, I don't think this is going to work. I have to resort to more looking on the internet. Okay, I am an idiot. So when I was ordering the primer, I was actually looking at primer filler, and for some reason I checked out the wrong one. So just primer with no filler in, which kind of makes sense why it's not doing any filling, because there's no filler in it. So I've done a couple of things. I've ordered another can of this, but the primer filler version, so hopefully that will help out a little bit better. And I've also ordered some wood filler that actually seems to work quite well, apparently, with 3D prints. And I also need some wood filler to kind of fix bit of damaged skirting board. So I am going to just do another coat of this on all the items, just because it does help show up very easily the areas that need to be filled. So I'll finish it up, and then also we leave this kind of near 24 hours or so, and then the primer filler will be here, and I think maybe those white areas, or the white pieces, let me just grab them. I think these bits will probably be okay with just primer. We'll see once we've finished it again how they come out, but I think we're going to need the wood filler on that larger one, because it's got so many kind of gaps in it that needs to do something a bit more drastic.
I don't think I mentioned it earlier, but always wear a mask when you're doing these spray jobs. You probably should wear some sort of apron or something so you don't get your clothes dirty, but let's just crack on with it.
No one ever sees me, I'm losing every battle. No one ever sees me, I'm losing every battle. Can somebody save me, I'm losing every battle.
Looking a bit rough. So in some ways, I mean, this is part of an experiment, right, to try and learn and see how easy or hard this stuff is, but it at this stage it's looking worse than it did before I started. So having the paint obviously emphasizes any gaps in the layers of the prints or anything, so yeah, could be frustrating end. But let's wait, let's get some mist filler. I think it's going to take more work than I thought. I thought I was just going to spray some spray, add some colour, bish bash bosh, job done. But let's see how we get at the end of this little journey. Okay, so I didn't record it, but the additional kind of filler primer came. I've applied it, left it for about an hour. It's not good, but what I did also order at the same time was this wood filler, so that's what I'm going to have a go at now. But if I show you kind of results of the primer filler, hasn't really made any difference. So yeah, so I'm going to give it a quick sand down, and then try and apply the wood filler and see how we get on with that. Okay, so the camera stopped recording, and it's probably for the best, because I was effing and jeffing, because I'm really not enjoying this process. I think, as you can see, it looks like a poorly decorated cake type substance thing. So in the end I just slapped a load of it on and we'll let it dry for a bit, and then I'll sand it and see what happens. But so a couple of things that I've realised is, one, because these, especially the base, it took me a few goes to get that to print properly. So I think I was getting frustrated, so I just upped the pace of that printing, which is why it's got so many gaps in it, because the quality is not as high. And that's obviously made it harder, or revealed this requirement, I should say, to fill in all the holes. And then just deciding to spray it, as soon as I kind of put the primer on, it instantly looked worse than it did before I decided to, well, yeah, it looked worse than it did before I started to spray, I should say, because all the imperfections got shown up. So I wasn't super happy with it pre-painted when I kind of put it all together just for a test fit, and I was like, okay, this is the size, this is what it looks like. But I am kind of starting to regret having a go at spraying it. So I'm sure you're probably putting notes in the comments now of all the things I've done wrong. So definitely please do that, because I'd like to learn how to do this better. So yeah, I think leave it to dry, and what I've learnt so far is if I'm going to spray something, I want to put the time in to make it a better print quality, and also give some thought to, do I just continue making stuff that is functional like I've been making before, like clamps and boxes and connectors and stuff, as opposed to trying to make something that is, it's not really like it's a showpiece, but something that is functional but on display as well, like this headphone stand. So we'll see how it comes out. I think I'm already not enjoying it. So I wasn't saying, I'm not going to cut corners, but I think I am going to cut corners. I'm just going to get to a point where I wait for this wood filler to dry. I'll sand it smooth. Another couple of coats of that new filler primer. Sand it down, and then whatever it is whatever it is, and then I will spray it, and the final colours, and yeah, we'll see how it comes out. So I think I'm going to go for black gloss base and top, and then I think I'm going to do the sides in red, so black and red, and then see how it comes out.
Sees me, I'm losing every battle. No one ever sees me, I'm losing every battle. No one ever sees me, I'm losing every battle. Can somebody save me, I'm losing every battle.
Okay, so it seems the battery ran out and I didn't realise, so missed a fair bit of that section. But so what we've done is we've done 2 more coats of the filler primer. In between the 2 coats I did kind of sand it back a little bit, which has also impacted the finish a little bit more. So there's a couple of, I guess the filler wasn't, I don't know, properly dry or something, I'm not sure, but so a little bit more imperfections. But I don't actually think it looks that bad. Definitely not professional grade, and you're probably not going to want to pay me for what I'm doing here, but I think for this first go and this first attempt, it's starting to look a lot better than it was. So let's just have a little look, show you what it's drying. So again, it's not perfect by any means, but it looks a little less 3D printy, I think. So it's the back there, you can see where some of this bit of cloth marks and stuff, and this is at the back there, so it's not the end of the world. So again, not perfect, so we'll leave this till tomorrow now till it all kind of properly dries, and then I'll check on it in the morning before I start work, and yeah, see if I can just kind of clean it up a little bit more. Then maybe 1 more coat of primer. We'll see how it is tomorrow, and then we'll make a start on the proper coverage, and I can see if it's going to be any good. So going to do black gloss on the base and the top mount, and then we're going to go for a gloss red on the arms and see it comes out. It's the morning after, and things are dried out not too bad. So a little bit of roughness here and there. I've given it a little bit of a light sand ahead of painting it, but I think it's not come out too bad really. So down here is where it was really rough. It still looks rough, but to the touch it's actually pretty smooth. So I am going to go ahead and oh dear, dropping everything. Have a go at spraying it in the colours. I'm going to start off by doing the red on the side arms and see how we get on. really the best thing to be doing the spraying in, as you can tell. Might come out alright. So I'll leave that to dry for a little bit because I need to move it around. I think if I do end up trying to do some more of these in the future, I need to come up with a bigger, better spray proof option because it's just so constrained in this box. But yeah, maybe this project might not be so crap after all. Okay, so the spraying continues, and it's not working out as good as I thought it would actually. Some more imperfections are showing up, but we'll see how it goes. So there's a couple of coats on those red arms now, but it also, I guess because this is not that's not the best environment, but little bits of where I've wiped it down showing a little bit, so we'll see. So I think I need to leave this to dry longer than I thought. It's supposed to be kind of touch dry in about an hour and a half, something like that. But I left it over 2 hours and it's still very tacky. So I'm going to leave it overnight and then see how things look tomorrow, and then hopefully do the gloss black on the base and the top and see how things come out. Okay, progress update. The side bits are now dry, and I'm not going to give them any more coats. I think this will do for what we're doing. So it doesn't look too bad. You can still see print lines and everything in there, but there is a little bit of a gloss. I'm not sure if I can get it better in the light there. So I don't think it looks too bad. If you see it, kind of, I'll show you better in the light, but if you look at it close up, you can see some lines and stuff in there. So not too bad. So I'm going to put those to one side now, and then do start doing some coats of the gloss black on the base and the top unit, and see how we get on. I'm not sure how I'm going to do this piece because it will be visible from the bottom because it's obviously going to sit like that. So I think I'm going to spray the bottom first and clean this up a little bit, and then I can do the top and sides after this has got a couple of coats on it. So yeah, let's have a go. Okay, so I just applied what I'm going to probably call the final coat of the gloss black paint, so I'll show that to you. I feel like a broken record, but it's definitely a lot harder than I thought it would be, and I definitely think that I don't have the right patience. I think I am quite a patient person, but not the patience needed to do this kind of spray work. So I'll show you kind of where we're at, and once things have dried, hopefully in a few more hours. So you think, so this is the red stuff that we showed before, and then this is the gloss black. This is the base here, and then this here is the top piece that the headphones go on. So much dust and everything from the sanding and everything. Not sure how I'm going to clean this up, but it definitely looks like it's just dust. So if I just kind of scrape things off, it does seem to work, but there's a lot of cleaning up required in here. But yeah, I think it's going to look okay, acceptable, but I think what I'm realizing is that I will probably in the future just do a slower, higher quality 3D print. Then I can just I can be happy with just the results of that, as opposed to going for this malarkey, because it's just not for me, I don't think. It's too hard, I don't have the patience, but that one actually looks quite glossy-ish, I think. So, yeah. We shall see. It's quite early in the morning. Spawn 2 decided that sleeping's for wimps. So I thought I'd pop in and see if things had dried off. So here we go. So this is the top piece. You can see there's some, I don't know what you call it, bubbling or something. I guess that's some dust or something that's got caught in there. Oh yeah, and down the front here, as you can see, this bit of wood here is broken, basically, and the front edge fell down into the dust yesterday, which is why I got that on there, which isn't that great, but put that there with the rest of the stuff. And then here's the base. Let's see how that came out. Not too bad, it's a bit rough. And again, some bubbles and stuff in there, but yeah, it's done now. I'm ready to put it together and see what it looks like. So I'll just put the camera down whilst I put it together on top of this box, and then we can see how everything else turns out. Look how dusty it is in here though. Dust everywhere. I know it's a workshop and it's supposed to get dusty, but I have some cleaning to do. It's not bad, it's not my proudest work. Already I can see a few issues. It's on the front here. Obviously didn't apply enough paint because it's still, see a bit of the primer underneath. That's got a bit of scuffing on. But I mean, yeah, it's not terrible, but it's, again, not something I'm super proud of. But I'll put it in the cave for a bit and see how I like it for a bit. But that's it. So this was a little video on how not to spray 3D printed stuff, but I had a go. So these are the things that you can learn not to do for yourself. If you are really good at this kind of thing and you have the patience and want to make recommendations, that'd be really appreciated in the comments. Maybe I'll try again one day. I've got enough paint and stuff that I ordered. But yeah, that's the end of this attempt. Thanks for watching this video. A thumbs up would be really appreciated. If you're interested in other geek type videos, please consider subscribing to Spectrum Geeks. Why not also follow us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. And before you leave, why don't you check out one of these other videos that may be of interest. Thanks again for watching.